doesn't exactly bring me back to, trick-or-treating as a child. My mom didn't hand me a 16-ouncer and say, hey, go get some candy. What's up, E.D.G family? Kevin here, and today we're talking about Halloween games. September's almost over. October is literally less than a week away, and it is about time for me to get festive. Start thinking about what Halloween games I want to play with my friends, my family, what kind of drinks I want to try. I got this awesome All Hallows Eve treat. We're gonna check this out together. Talk about, a few honorable mentions that I don't necessarily make my top Halloweens list, but we got a few to talk about. 5 games, and maybe even a couple that I don't have in my collection that I'm thinking about adding. But I will be right back. Alright, so like I mentioned, I do have a few honorable mentions I want to get out of the way right off the get-go. We got some Tiny Epic Zombies, a small box game, probably better to travel with. I do think this one is on the medium to light side, so nothing too crazy. Most people can probably pick this one up. I think it plays up to 5. I did have a buddy pick this up recently. Haven't heard what he thought of it yet, so if he's listening, he should totally ping me. But if you got any comments about any of these, definitely let me know. The next one's definitely out of my kids' collection. Ghostbusters, Protect the Barrier. This one is a cooperative game. Honestly, I think this is a fantastic game. It is kind of a reskin, I believe, of Ghost Fightin' Treasure Hunters. Very good. It doesn't get played quite as much as I wish. Maybe we can change that this holiday season. Another mention would be Unlock. I have not got into this box quite yet, but Unlock games, exit games, I recently saw when I was looking at this, they have like a Shining scenario game. My sister's a huge fan of the Stephen King Shining. I don't know why, but this would be a good one for most parties. Very good around Halloween parties, I would think. Another one I want to mention has a really good theme. We're talking, it's got wizards, witches, and stuff. Mythic Mischief. It's kind of a semi-abstract, pretty easy to teach, I would say. It is probably the most complicated out of all of them on the honorable mentions, but very cool. Has, like I said, trolls, vampires, just, there's some theme there. There's some theme for Halloween. And then the last one, another zombies game, Zombicide. I wouldn't necessarily pick this one because it's more of the sci-fi Zombicide, and I feel like there are better Zombicide games to really bring in that Halloween theme, but I did want to mention all of these before we got into it. And now, it's time for a treat. So, this is, I don't think I could have grabbed a more thematic craft beer than this one. It's by OMMEGANG Brewery. It is called All Hallows Treat. It is a Imperial Chocolate Peanut Butter Stout. 7.6 ABV, but look at this can art. Look at this can art. Grains. But it does say, stout with natural flavors, sweet, spooky, like the perfect Halloween night. All Hallows Treat rekindles your favorite childhood holiday memories, aromas, and flavors of dark chocolate, creamy peanut butter, and soft vanilla finish. With smooth body and medium soft feel, it's the perfect throwback that brings you to the first bite of a chocolate peanut butter cup. That's exactly what I was about to say. So, complete honesty here, I had to grab 2 of these because I knew the first one wouldn't make it to now. So I have had this before. I know it's fantastic. I don't always do that, but sometimes some of these are risky, and I've had a few I've opened and I'm like, I'm not tasting that on the channel, so I didn't. But we are going to taste this, but we'll go ahead and get it poured. Go ahead and get it poured so it can sit. Not too thick. I don't feel like it's too thick of a body. Let that sit for a minute. That wasn't a very good pour, but it does happen. But as this sits, we will fill it and we will talk about Halloween games. So, the first one I want to talk about is definitely geared more towards your children, your family game. And that one is Zombie Kids. So, you might remember I talked about this on my Shelf of Shame. Not because it hasn't gotten played, just because it hadn't gotten played too much recently. This is kind of a a little bit of a campaign game. It has unlocked envelopes. I believe me and my daughter have about 12 to 14 to do. So my goal, I'm not even kidding, my goal this October is we are going to finish this game and then see if she wants zombie teens. I guess it'll probably depend on how she feels after I play 14 straight scenarios of this. But Zombie Kids, super accessible. It's kind of a dice rolling and movements. It takes place in a school. It's got Halloween written all over it. It is definitely a decent one, especially if you got kids. I did say that the Tiny Epic Zombies was the smallest zombie game. This one, it didn't beat this one by much. So, Zombie Kids Evolution. I do believe there's actually a Zombie Kids, so let's specify. It is Zombie Kids Evolution. I believe that is what makes it the campaign part. They do have a Zombie Teens. I hope to one day check it out. But like I said, it'll depend on her. But we will set that to the side, and this one poured down pretty quick. So let's give it another fill up. But yeah, adult trick or treat. That should be a thing. Adult trick or treat. So the next one I want to talk about is probably I'm checking the oldest in my collection out of the 5 we're talking about. This one I've had quite a bit. It's a cooperative my wife and I got into after Tiny Epic Zombies. It's Elder Sign. Elder Sign. So, obviously, Cthulhu-based, Cthulhu theme game from Lovecraft. It's probably the most accessible Arkham game out there by Fantasy Flight. Dice rolling, kind of a push your luck, Yahtzee mechanism. I do have the, well, let's open this up. I do have the first expansion. I believe this was the first expansion. Gates of Arkham. I would say, if you played this a few times and you kind of lost some love for it, that is the expansion to pick up. I definitely enjoy it the most with that. I don't think I would teach it to people with that the first time, but if it's just my wife and I, especially around this Halloween, probably jump right into that. It kind of has more of a I say push your luck, but more of an exploration. You don't ever necessarily know what's going to be on the other side of the card when you go to explore it, so kind of spooky. Kind of spooky. I do, like I said, really do enjoy this one. Doesn't get played enough. It is a game I always pull out around Halloween. It plays up to 8. I would never play it up to 8. I think I've mentioned that before. I played it at 6. It was okay, but I would probably still try to keep my player count 5 or under. But very, very good game. I played this probably almost all of the last Halloweens. Very good. I enjoy it. So, this is poured. We're gonna do a nose on it. Let's see what we got here. I'm picking up the chocolate. I'm not getting a whole lot of peanut butter. A lot of chocolate notes, a little vanilla, almost kind of like some marshmallow. But it definitely has that like deep sweet smell to it. I don't know if that really makes sense to you, but like almost that dark chocolate, you know? It's more bitter than it is like high-end sweet. I hope that makes sense to you. I will get there, but I want to talk about this next one. This next one is going to be one that you probably wouldn't think of as a Halloween game. It is a game I've played the past 3 years, every Halloween. It has become a tradition in my house to play this. But I will say, insert here, if you were making your own list, something that may not be scary, spooky, but just think of like a themed game that I feel like a lot of kids dress up as around Halloween. You know, a Marvel game could technically be a Halloween game. I feel like a lot of kids like to dress up as their favorite Marvel characters around that. And this one hits for me is Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. So, why has this became a Halloween game for me and my family? Renegade's done a really good job pumping scenarios out. I think they do a monthly scenario, and before I even got this, they had a scenario out that I have played every year. It is the Pumpkin Wrapper scenario. And the reason why my daughter likes to play it is because some of the foot soldiers will get replaced by little pumpkin, like the little candy corn pumpkins. So you use those in lieu of some of the foot soldiers. You end up using like the boss cards for them. But every single time we defeat them, guess what happens to the pumpkin? she eats it, so she definitely enjoys that. I feel like when we play, she's always like, don't take the pumpkin out. I want to be the one to take the pumpkin out. So, you know, just a fun experience that I will always think of her growing up, us playing this together. Like I say, it could be any theme game. There's, you know, like I said, you could insert Marvel, you know, a Batman game, anything. I say Batman because I did dress up as Batman quite a few times as a kid around Halloween. So this could be anything for most people. This is Power Rangers for me, but like I said, it really helps because there is a scenario that even makes it more Halloween for us. I would love to do a playthrough of this on the channel. We'll see what happens in the future, specifically the Halloween scenario. I do have at least one Heroes of the Grid playthrough up on the channel, so definitely check that out if you're interested in this game. But yeah, Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. Another great Halloween game for me, at least. But we gotta taste this guy. We have been, I mean, this is a adult trick or treat right here. This is very smooth. There is peanut butter in there. It's kind of like in the middle, too. Kind of jammed in the middle. Finish is a little bitter. Slightly dry. But I will say, this is it's lighter than you would have thought. You saw me pour it. It wasn't, like, crazy thick. Lightly carbonated. Get that chocolate note pretty early on. Kind of carries through, but I will say, I think the first time I tasted this, it took me a little bit to find that peanut butter. It's just smooth all the way through. All the way through. Doesn't exactly bring me back to, you know, trick-or-treating as a child. My mom didn't hand me a 16-ouncer and say, hey, go get some candy. But I was a peanut butter cup kid for sure. All right, this next one, Nemesis. So, this one for me reminds me, obviously, like most people, of Alien, the movie. Ridley Scott's version. Not talking any smack on James Cameron movie. I love Aliens probably more than I like the first one. But, Alien. Horror movie, for sure. But this game, I'm going to tell you right now, what it does for me mechanically. I mean, obviously you have hidden trader aspects. You got aliens popping up. They're not easy to take out if you've ever played this game. I mean, it's generally not a, like, shoot 'em up version. I believe that's what Retaliation is going to be when it comes out. Is more of a, you know, you're taking the aliens out. You're not running from them, you know, trying to do stuff around a ship. But I will say, drawing out of that bag is one of the scariest moments when you're playing a game. What's coming out of that? What comes out of that bag when you're spawning stuff? It can be horrifying. So I will say, as you see, you know, noise markers come up across the board, as you're, you know, drawn, like I said, drawn from the bag, trying to figure out what you're gonna do. Is the engines even working? This game's quite scary. I will say, it's definitely almost the scariest game in my collection. Almost. But yeah, Nemesis. Really like this one. This is something I think in the next couple weeks is going to be a really epic playthrough of this. Not up on the channel. I don't know if I can pull that off. If I can, it will happen. But I will say, just getting some friends together, getting this to the table, played it at some relatively low player counts, a couple times solo. I really want to get a 4-5 player. Does this play 5? I think it plays 5. I don't even know. I haven't played it up to 5. Yeah, 1 to 5. 5-player experience with some Nemesis would be awesome. I think this would be a great Halloween game. Let me know if I'm off base here, but come on. This game can be quite frightening. Quite frightening. I say that and I'm looking at it, it says live long and prosper. That game does not make me think live long and prosper, I will tell you. There's nothing Chucky about that. Alright. It leads us down to 1. 5 out of, well, I'd say 9 out of 10 of you would be able to guess what this is. It's quite obvious. I didn't do it early on for that reason. It was always going to be on this list. How could it not be on this list? Final Girl. I potentially hit it because I didn't want anybody to know I pulled this box out. But Final Girl is a horror movie in a box. And it's not even just a stereotypical horror movie. It is horror of all fashions, you know. You got sci-fi. This is very much a sci-fi horror movie, you know, something, what it came out of, what is the Stephen King book? Horrible movie. I just saw it the other day when I was going through my Halloween Dreamcatcher. Horrible movie. But yeah, this is, you know, The Thing, Dreamcatcher, you know, not your traditional horror. You got slasher flicks. You got the Evomorph. Totally, we just talked about Nemesis. You know, very much along the same lines. You know, we have all kinds of horror genre themes. For Final Girl, Series 3 looks great. When it comes out, it gives you a flair for the genre. So I will tell you, I think what my goal this Halloween season isn't going to be to play more Final Girl. I think I'm going to teach a few more people Final Girl. Sit at the table, flip some tarot cards over, move some stuff around, and be like, I'm sorry, what are you going to do? You know, I think that would be a fun experience. Maybe even shoot a playthrough like that. That could be fun. To kind of show that even though this is a solo game, I would enjoy watching somebody just making some bad dice rolls, you know, having a struggle trying to survive this game. Maybe give them the odd in tip here and there. Hey, you know, you might want to do this. Probably wouldn't start out with the organism. Would not be my choice for a first-time player. But Final Girl is definitely a Halloween game for me, and it probably always will be. So, what are some games that are not in my collection I did not talk about that I think I would add to my collection? Well, I did see there is a Scream the board game now. And that's something I've kind of been asking in the Final Girl world for a while, is where is my Scream-esque killer on the phone, trying to play games with you, you know, maybe telling you which victim's gonna go where, and you gotta try to save them before it gets to them, kind of feature. I mentioned that in my Final Girl, like, I don't know, Season 3 wish list, I guess is what I would call it. Didn't get it, but they did come out with Scream the board game. I think it is app-based. I think it's Funko Games, too. Funko Games has put it out. Probably available at your local Target. That would be a good one to add. And then the other one is, I need to replace my Betrayal on House on the Hill with the Scooby-Doo version. I think Scooby-Doo is a game I don't really have in my collection. My daughter loves Scooby-Doo growing up. And I think that would be a great one that's more... I don't know if Scream would really resonate with an 8-year-old, so probably not going to go there. Definitely more your adult Halloween party. But I would say getting a Scooby-Doo version of Betrayal on House of the Hill, I could play that with my 8-year-old. She would like it. I don't know what she would play as. Probably Scooby. Probably Scooby. But that's pretty much going to wrap up my Halloween games. But definitely let me know what games are your Halloween games. They do not have to be games that are, you know, traditionally, you know, Halloween games. Like I said, I pulled stuff that I felt reminded me of the season. I didn't dress up as a Power... Did I? Did not dress up as a Power Ranger growing up. I will throw that out there. But just, you know, games that remind you of the trick-or-treat season, the spooky season, whatever you want to call it. Let me know what you think about mine. Leave me a couple suggestions in the comments. And yeah, I will see you guys all in the next one. Much love.